Well, hello, and good evening to another episode of the Utopian Open Source Broadcasting, Social Broadcasting Program, or however you want to call that. Ron is for sure coming on later on, and is going to tell again how this should be labeled, in his opinion. For now, it's the Utopian Open Source Broadcasting, Social Broadcasting thingy, programmy, whatever. We should not call it radio show, I heard. Globo does know the thing as well. Interactive Social Broadcast Network. Thanks a lot, Globo. ESBN. You know what ESBN means in Germany? It's the on the backside of a book. You know, it's the international.
It's global. It's global, not just Germany. And ISBN is global.
What? Same as everywhere. It's global, really?
Yes, of course.
It's not a German thing. Oh no, you're destroying my evening, even in the first minute of this show.
I'm so sorry. That's kind of what I came here for, to destroy your evening.
About destroying my evening, I'm just picking up on that. By the way, I got a dog, and this dog is downstairs, and he's a bit strange today. So if I'm running, if you see me... Oh, by the way, you can see me on video live on Vim, I think, and on Twitch. So if you want to... yeah, I cannot, Krim. That's a bad thing, because on the first hand, he's downstairs, and on the second hand, I think he's right now destroying... He could be destroying a table of mine. Yeah, I cannot. There is a stair in between, and another stair, and basically he's a quite big dog. His name is Clapton, like the musician without Eric, and yeah, he's a puppy still, but he's already 75 centimeters, so he's quite huge, and I don't want to make him walk stairs right now, so this is not very good for his health. And no, he's not a German Shepherd, he's an Irish Wolfhound, so a wolf. Yeah, German Shepherd, that would be it. It would fit into this show at least, so Ilana can make even more bad jokes about me. So no, he's not a German Shepherd.
They're not bad jokes.
Yeah, well, some say this and others say other things, you know, about the same occasions. So if I...
Others are wrong.
Yeah, definitely. If I lose a microphone and it just see dust settling on my chair on Vim and Twitch, then I needed to go downstairs fast to make him stop destroying things. If this is not happening, everything is cool. But I cannot promise, because he's a puppy and he's only 6 months old. So he's got, well, let's say bad ideas. And quite a lot of them. Yeah, I'm listening. Sorry. This is the other thing that I need to do occasionally. Listening. If things are exploding badly or something like that. Okay, that's that. On the other hand side, we have two quite... well, you have both been already in the show. Luke Stokes and High Speed Imagines both have been here. Luke was here at least for one panel we did on Hard Fork 20, and how things have evolved. This was 1 week, I think, after Hard Fork 20. We have had a lot of things to discuss about going forward and how development should have been done, and I don't know, consensus and a lot of things. And High Speed Imagines is also here. He's was, I think, in episode 7 or 8. And we have talked about his app, Steamer, if I remember right. I think I do. And High Speed Imagines is also part of this, this program that we are currently following to talk about the projects that we have already talked and see how they have fared in this, I would say, difficult world that we're currently living in, especially if you got to do with cryptocurrencies. That's currently maybe the one of the worst markets to be in, And so it's very at least interesting, or we can learn a lot of things about how the projects did fare and how things went. For instance, last week we also had quite interesting guests, and learned that some of the projects that they started went into completely different ways, which was not a bad thing, by the way. It was just the thing that the market needed at that moment in time, and so they had the flexibility and the clever thought of just adapting to the needs of the market more than just pursuing their initial project goal. This is Lucas I'm just reading a bit, and I thought that I just saw that Lucas had a quick power outage.
It was crazy. The lights just flickered, and it was like, oh no, please tell me no. And then, of course, the router's probably in the process of rebooting and resetting, so I quickly just tethered off my phone, and at some point I'll probably reconnect back to my normal connection. But
perfect.
Just wanted to give it. So you're giving this wonderful introduction that I completely missed, but thank you.
Yeah,
I'm sure
don't worry. It was wonderful, and it was I don't know. People, your children will still talk about it in years, And thanks a lot to all the audience that already is in the MSW's broadcast room. Amos and Amar. I always fall upon this Amy Meyer? Is it Amy Meyer? Maybe is it really Amy Meyer? Angelica, Bucky, the most important Bucky, who is not only in the audience of the show but also the producer of this show and the one pulling the strings, basically. So, with other words, if I fail, he's responsible. So that's quite easy. Did I again pronounce Amos wrongly? Is this what the 3 question marks mean, Amos? Most likely. Krim, hi Krim. Diego is already here. Emre, and a lot of people from Utopian, Espoem, Globo, the sound wizard behind the good sounds that we are listening to and the video that we are seeing. I'm Stan. I'm a cryptoric, Mr. Noma. Nothing is magic. Nothing is magic. We should follow up. I think you're already almost ready to be followed up as well. On your project, I mean. And Oops and Pensive, Soundwave Sodon, and the real wolf, the only wolf. I'm sorry that I have a wolf as well, but you are called the real wolf, so that's quite cool. So you are the only real wolf in here, and I won't pull Clapton into the broadcasting. Jan Lana, well, that's not too bad actually, but I don't know. We are more antagonists than sharing the same name, but it's just my opinion. So what are we
just merged? If we merged, that would be really scary. Wouldn't that be like a really scary German-Israeli monster? I don't know. That just looks scary in my head, Krim. I don't know why you put that there.
Yeah. Indeed. It's a bit scary. Think about it. Oh yeah, that's true. You can yell at us more easily, and you're hitting 2 instead of just 1. Yeah, efficiency above all. So this is what we're going to talk about the app, Steamer, and a lot of other things. I just happened to surf about amongst High Speed Imagine's profile, and I saw a lot of other things that you're doing as well. So we're going to talk about this later on. And with Luke, we are going to talk about his. He's doing a lot of things as well. He was on Steamfest 3. He is an active witness on the Steam blockchain. He's doing a lot of things about the blockchain, and he's got a lot of experience. So in these dire times that we are currently in, I'm sure that we can. I am at least happy to listen to him and to see what outlook we are having into the future. Since I don't know, I didn't check today. Where are we from? Is it still 40 cents, or is it dropped? Did it drop to 10? Or I didn't want to have any catastrophes.
It's hard to keep track of it. I've just consigned myself to somewhat ignore it over the last couple of days, because holy moly, it's just been brutal.
Yeah, exactly. I saw this 40 something, and then I thought, okay, just stop now.
It's 41. I just checked.
Okay.
Yeah, it's tough.
Don't look. Just don't look.
Yeah.
It will not make you happy.
Well, I remember when it went to 7 cents, and I actually bought into Steam in 2016, in the summer of 2016, when it was at between $3 and $4. And watching it go from $3 or $4 to 7 cents gave me a sense of resilience that I've kept with me. And I first earned that resilience in 2013, 2014, when I watched Bitcoin go from $1,200 to $250, and I didn't sell then either. So I'm either incredibly stupid or I have this amazing foresight of long-term value.
Yeah, either that or the other. It's the same thing with me because I was at least there when, I don't know, the SBD was at, I don't know, $7 or $8 and Steam at $4, and I thought, yeah, well, just hodl. And now I think maybe this was a damn stupid idea, but maybe not. You never know. So that's a good thing. So we're going to talk with Luke about this, more of this later on. And for sure we are going to have, and now definitely, Bucky, I cannot promise, but I'm now searching the media source where I have this amazing new tune you made especially for One Pink Princess that we both know. No, that's not it. God damn. Can't find it. Yeah, that's always the same thing. If you think that I'm organized, think twice, because I'm definitely not. I'm everything but that. Ah, my goodness. I think I got it. But maybe not. Maybe I'm killing everything right now.
Writer of content first.
Oh, yes, I'm going to do that.
Princess of Foss News.
You don't hear that inside here. Ah, well, I don't... maybe I should not sing it.
Princess of Foss News. Princess of Foss News.
Because the Princess of Foss News, like Ilana just said herself, she's going to bring us again, at least a bit, impressions of the news items that are out there in the open source community. I didn't put anything in the announcement today for the show because I didn't actually know if you're going to talk more about what happened on SteamFest 3 or if we are going really back into full news channel mode. So this is something that I would want you to decide upon yourself. So therefore I just said that you're going to bring us news from here or from there. I don't know. So Ilana, what's that you're going to bring today? Oh, well, that's The Sound of Silence. That's a song. Quite different to what I imagined. I can also play the song again. It's cool. Yeah, maybe she needs just more encouragement by having her song that you wrote for her playing longer.
Princess of Foss News. Princess of Foss News, mother of feeds, writer of content, first of her name. Princess of Foss News, mother of feeds, writer of content, first of her name. Princess of Foss News.
So
I asked her to make some adjustments to her microphone, and I think I may have gotten her to kill her microphone.
All right.
So I take full responsibility. we try to put out the best show we can, and here we go.
Yeah, this
She's
is working
restarting.
like a charm. Really.
I'm gonna take full responsibility for this.
Okay, Bucky. But anyways, with what media tool did you do this cool song for Ilana? Because obviously this was taken out of a interview that we had in I think episode 1 or 2.
I use Ableton Live for the for some of the edits and for that music, and but yeah, she did something a while ago, and she read off what she thought her title was on the show, Princess of Foss News. So I don't know. I think I may have used Audacity to chop that out. I like using Audacity whenever I can, so it's a good app. So yeah, and then I use Ableton Live to build up a funky little drum beat. So lots of fun. Yahoo!
Bucky, can you do me a favor and go back to the audience and say me if there is anything playing right now, because I don't have anything playing.
No, it's just us talking here now, blabbering on. It's one of the things, since I have an opportunity to speak now, I'm going to take advantage of this. If anybody here amongst our audience would like to have an opportunity to come on the show and maybe tell us a little bit about something that you're working on, or maybe a project that you're excited about, then DM me here now, and maybe we can squeeze you on sometime during the show. I know there are a lot of really passionate people out here, and we also have some people that are past visitors on the show. Like I'm seeing the Real Wolf is here. If anybody is interested in popping on at some point during the show and sharing some of the things that you're doing in the open source world, we'd love to hear about it. Just DM me, and I'll see about bringing you on.
Exactly. We wanted to do this from day one. This was always part of the concept of our show.
Yeah.
On the other hand side, it never worked out. Either we had no guests wanting to come on live on the stage and talk with us, or the other hand side, we have had quite packed shows that have been so filled up already that there was simply no time for anyone to be there. So, but today I think is a very good day to restart this idea. So, as my producer just said, if anyone wants to come up live on stage, and I already saw I'm a cryptoric and somebody else saying he would, then talk to Bucky. He's always open for that, and he's going to fill you in and explain you what to do, and give you maybe even a short sound check, so you can be. Yeah, I thought that this was cryptoric. Picklerig, cryptoric.
Ilana is on here, but she's silent.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now.
Yes.
You sound great.
Finally.
You don't sound like you're in a bucket. Which
I was not at any point in a bucket. Not that I know of. No bucket.
But really,
I heard that a lot of people were in the bucket during Steamfest, but that's for another.
Different kind of bucket.
Yeah, perfect. So, what are you going to talk to us about today? Which news are hot? Are you going to talk more about Steamfest 3, or is it? I don't know.
I actually heard you, and I was talking, and you couldn't hear me. That was really frustrating. But yeah, first of all, yes, I can talk more about Steamfest 3 and basically make you even more jealous. That's a thing I can definitely do. Alternatively, I can start with the news and make you feel, bad later, whatever you prefer.
Don't know. It's so, I feel so upheld by both ideas. So
I'll start with the good news. Then I'll start with the good news that are just like basically the news, and we'll see. And we'll see what we'll do in the second news section if we have time for it. So what I have today is not a lot, just 3 items that I kind of picked from the past week. The first one is about Uber joining the Linux Foundation. Which was kind of expected because Uber uses a lot of open source technology in their stack, and so a lot of their tools are built on top of open source project, and so they tend to also contribute to a lot of projects. So I'm gonna show you that post right here. So that was Uber becoming a Linux Gold member. ARM, which is like the oldest, or maybe the best known operating system for self-made hardware, like Raspberry Pi. It's all basically built upon ARM-based hardware. And the original operating system for ARM, which is RISC OS, is going open source. So that's, we talked about, I remember talking about the fact that Windows 3.11 or DOS or something like that went open source. So that was, I think Windows 3.11 went open source, and that was kind of an interesting news item to talk about. And about the original operating system. Why the logo became a hexagon? I don't know if that's the Uber logo or if it's just the open source, their specific logo for their open source division. I don't know. Maybe that's the reason there's a hexagon there. Besides, yeah, hexagons are hot in logos for some reason lately. The last news item for this section is about, I think it's generally an interesting topic to talk about. There's a project with a very hard to pronounce name, sr.ht, and they want to be a truly fully open source alternative to GitHub, GitLab, and Bitbucket. So that I think is interesting from perspective, from a utopian perspective, because we didn't really talk about utopian news. But from a utopian perspective, I think it's very interesting because a lot of times people ask us, "Are you going to be a code repository? Are you going to be like a blockchain GitHub?" And exactly, a decentralized Git provider. And honestly, I see. Let me see if Diego's still listening in. Yep, yeah, Diego's still listening in. And honestly, I don't see why not. At this point, I think it's something that we should definitely consider in the future, especially since there are people out there who are worried about putting their projects on Microsoft's own GitHub. So perhaps this fully open source alternative. Well, Diego's against it, so that's not going to happen. But maybe there's a collaboration that we could do with them since they are all about the open source. So.
Yeah,
I have
definitely.
no idea what Inertia just posted.
It is quite hard to pronounce, though. I don't know how this is exactly.
Yeah, it's some bad branding right there because you can't really pronounce that name. But I think it's interesting. I think that it's interesting that people are now building truly, fully open source like alternatives to GitHub because of the Microsoft purchase. And it's interesting to keep an eye on that market because I think that it does kind of have a common ground with Utopian. What Diego is writing is if we get a few million in investment, then yeah, let's go for it. But in any other case, integrating is better than replacing or attempting to.
Dollars or vests? You can have vests from me, Ilya, if a few million is enough.
Sure, why not? Yeah, we're talking about Steam Vest, right? No one got that joke.
No.
Steam
I
Vest.
I just mentioned in the channel, I would love to see a decentralized Git provider. I think it's one of the key things that is needed to actually have decentralized software that you can trust. I actually just did a video earlier this week, and I'd love to talk about it a little bit later in the show about what we're doing with, decentralized code reviews and code systems where you can do a set code with a multi-signature permissions on a blockchain.
Yeah, definitely.
And unless we can verify that code against a source that we trust, such as GitHub or Bitbucket or whatever, ideally a decentralized, cryptographically secured system we trust. And IPFS has some benefits, but also some challenges. We're kind of stuck. But anyway, that's a beautiful lead into a future discussion. So a little teaser.
True.
That's kind of why I threw it up in the air. I'd like, yeah, sure, why not? Let's make a Git repository just to see how Diego would respond. But I think it's definitely worth a future discussion, which is why I kept that news item to be my last out of the first sections 3.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks a lot, Ilana. By the way, you fully recovered yet from Steamfest?
No, I don't know if I ever will. I don't know if I'll ever be
really?
fully recovered.
By the way, is there any more pictures that you can share of Krim and I don't know, all the guys and ladies that have been there? Because I think I remember that last time we had quite a picture fest going on.
Yeah, but actually, first of all, I'm going to start with, I think I shared this in the Utopian Slack. But it's just there's this one specific image, I really want to find it now, that I keep looking at it and it just makes me really, really, really excited. Let me see if I can find that photo really, really quickly. Where did I hide it from myself?
You hide it from yourself. Is this something that you do
As always,
regular?
yeah, of course. Someone has to hide it from me. But like to me, it's like one of the most important pictures for the event, and it's really sad that I can't find it now. But I'll look at it again. But yeah, definitely, I have endless number of pictures. Yeah.
Endless numbers of pictures sounds very good. Even though Krim is more or less laughing and at the same time saying, "Oh no, God, no more, please." But I think that this was quite a cool twist that we had last time in the show. Especially those googly eyes that some people had and others didn't. Oh, there's
nice. There's the kids of mine that were licking the salt walls the entire way down.
It was the salt wall licking event again.
Yes.
And there is Krim's googly eyes as well.
Actually, the picture I'm looking for and can't find is the picture of your girls, and I think it's Emma who was wearing a Utopian shirt as a dress, and that was just like it made it. I had tears in my eyes.
Oh, it might have been might have been Monet. It was either Monet or that was awesome. Yeah.
Oh yeah, but you had this in Utopian Slag. It's not long ago.
Yes.
There's Monet.
Yes,
there
her.
It is. Oh.
I couldn't even take a picture. I was just like I got tears in my eyes every single time, and I was like, yes, this is what we carry 20 kilograms of t-shirts for. This is this. Yes.
Awesome. Exactly. This was perfect moment. And
it's so adorable. I melted there. I honestly just that's the sort of Steamfest moments that will always be with me.
She's going to rock.
That and Ned making a showing in the women's bathroom. I mean, you can't beat that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Well, the only thing that I wish he was listening. I wish he was like listening and going, wait, was I in the women's bathroom? When did I? How did that happen? No. Yeah. Yidneth, hello there.
Hello. Yeah, good question. I'm Stan. Luke, did you really have to buy 5 tickets? No, you didn't.
I planned to. I was going to, and I talked to Roland about it, and I was like, I don't really know. This is kind of an experiment. I don't know how it's going to work out. I don't know if the kids are going to like any of the conference at all. And he's like, well, no, don't buy tickets for the kids. I bought one for Karina, and I knew she wasn't going to really probably participate a whole lot in the actual conference, and she didn't. But I knew also that the meals are like real hard costs. He's got to pay for those, right? And, and I was like, well, should I pay for the meals? And then we're kind of like, we didn't even know if like it would be kid friendly to bring them to the meals, because I know they're usually kind of high end and stuff. And Roland, in his amazing, awesome style, is like, don't even worry about it. Don't even pay for the meals. It's all good. Just let me know whether or not they're going to come. And so I was like, okay, yeah, I think we're going to come. And so I've talked to him. I've been like, yeah, I'm happy to pay for the meals, no problem. But I think they kind of lump it in already. So it's a matter of just, if they didn't have seats, it would have been a problem. But as you saw, there were plenty of seats, so it wasn't an issue there. But yeah, it was really cool. I'm really glad I was able to bring my kids. It was definitely an experiment. And I've been thinking about it a lot since then. And during the event, I realized that we call ourselves a community, but in reality, a community includes the children, right? Like that's a real community. Yep, and it was neat to be able to take that risk to bring the kids. I mean, the time zone differences, everything else. I mean, it was big.
We actually had a conversation about that. Redrika, Mr. Lightning, my husband, and myself. We sat down and we had this conversation about Buck and I. That's the photo. Bucky found the photo.
Oh, that's awesome.
Then and like we met at a science fiction convention over a decade ago, and the people that are friends from those conferences, they've grown older, and now they have kids. So as the community aged, we started having more activities for the kids, and like a fandom daycare of a sort, so parents can go and listen to the lectures they want to, knowing that their kids are having some kind of relevant and age appropriate activity. with people who, have experience with children. So we were sitting there and we were having this conversation saying, okay, this is definitely something we should suggest to Roland next year, a kind of daycare for STEAM kids, for that at least some of the hours, there would be like child appropriate activities that are managed by volunteers and STEAMians who would love to do that. Yes, STEAM kids, damn right. Yeah, STEAM kids. So this was something that we're already discussing.
I love it. It's actually, I was really excited too, even early on, like months beforehand. Roland created a Telegram channel for people he heard that might be coming with kids to try and encourage this already. And so again, I think Roland is completely on board with that kind of deeper level of community, that extended community. And there are other events, like hopefully in February, I plan to go to Anarchapulco, and they do a similar kind of like family friendly atmosphere there where there are kid specific events, because they really believe in that deeper level of community. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a wonderful thing. And my kids did have a good time. There were definitely challenges with, the time change and this, that, and the other, but it was so encouraging to me as a parent to have people come to me and say, man, your kids were great. And I was like, wow, you must not know them like I do. But like it was great.
They were fantastic. They were absolutely adorable. Honestly, I was just like really taken aback by the fact that you just like took them with you to the party and to the bowling and whatever, and they were part of it. And I thought that was amazing. I thought that was awesome.
What in bowling? I mean, we won 3 games. I have no idea how.
Oh my god! I embarrassed myself and we all embarrassed ourselves. There was no utopian team because we're really, really good at stuff that is not like bowling, and so there was no utopian team, and it was very, very sad when we so I thought it was awesome. I thought that the fact that you brought your kids is awesome, and I definitely want to have this like next to have a STEAM kids activities.
How was Team Utopian doing in licking walls? Have we won licking walls contest, or was there
I left before the wall licking took place.
That's a pity.
I did not stay for the salty dinner, but I just have. I'm deeply and profoundly sorry that you didn't get your T-shirt. And I guess you'll just have to come to Israel and get one, because I have a few left at home, and one of them is even pink, so definitely.
I don't know, Inertia, if this is what the kids are calling.
No, there was actual wall licking in a salt mine, and there are lots of photos of people licking walls.
Yes, a lot of them, and therefore I was searching for the pink princess licking walls, but it seriously didn't happen. This is now
the pink princess was on a flight back home, in a world of pain and exhausted beyond words. And like, if there's like any takeaway that I can give people who are planning Steamfest next year, take a few days before and a few days after, and just stay there. I spoke with Block Trades. Wonderful people, and I spoke to Dan from Block Trades, and he was like, yeah, we took 2 days before and 2 days after, so we didn't really have, that hard of a time. And I was like, you are such smart people. I'm definitely going to do that next year. I'm going to take 2 days before and 2 days after, and definitely not drink less. Hell no. Hell to the no. Getting plastered. I mean, I am not a party girl. I sit here in my little, my little alcove doing my thing on the computer all day. And then like once in a while being able to just, sort of be who I am online, my internet persona. It's really fun. It's really, my liver has almost recovered.
Perfect. That I'm really happy for you. And obviously Grims just said she drank for you, which is helping maybe. But by the way, has anybody pictures of that event? Because I saw that a lot of people posted pictures already on Steam and in some chats licking walls. So just that we have clear that this is no euphemism. There was some, I think Inertia was talking about euphemism radio. It was not. At least I don't think it was. Since I was not there, I cannot tell for sure.
It was a salt mine. People lick the walls. It's a thing that happened. Yes, it is not a euphemism for anything.
Our guide actually encouraged it. She's like, "Oh yeah, go ahead," because of the the level of salt in the atmosphere in the air there. They said that there's basically there's no toxins or anything because everything's been kind of disinfected. And so they're like, lick away, even though you know that you're licking someone else's lick,
Yeah, lick away.
Ew. That's just I would have just I don't know, put like a moist wipe and then cleaned it a little bit and maybe then took a little lick. But ew, no, crap, hell no.
Yeah, it's either that or you could say that you're strengthening immune systems, however you want to look at it.
Yeah, true.
What
true
immune
indeed.
system? You guys. What immune system?
Yeah, true indeed as well. Okay, so Ilana, thanks a lot for bringing this lively discussion to us. And for sure see you back later talking about the second set of news that you found. Right now, we're going to shift attention to High Speed Imagines. I hope he's still here. Well, at least we're going to start out with... I'm saying it differently now. At least we're going to start out with talking about the Steamer app. This was already here, 4 months ago. An app, Steamer, the app to interact with the Steam blockchain. So we already talked about this 4 months ago, and I would really like to know how things have fared since then, and what updates are there. Did the course of the project change completely, or what are you right now doing, High Speed Imagines?
Hello everyone.
Hello.
The Steamer app right now is not there on Google Play Store. They shut down my account for some stupid reason and they're not getting it back. So I'm in the process of making a new account and getting everything back online. But right now you can download the app through GitHub's release package thing over there. But right now I'm not really much focused on Steamer. It's a new project I have been thinking of for a long time. And a lot of people might have had this idea, but hopefully I can make it before and have it online. I don't have anything to show for it, but soon maybe I will. There is this another project called Steam Mini you might have seen on Utopian. And that is basically for people who want to host their own Steemit blog on their own domain. So they can do this in a very easy and simple manner. They just change their username in one constant JS file, and that's that done. And it'll work properly for the rest of the time.
Exactly. I'm just following up on Luke's question that he already did, because I was already thinking about where can I find this? Can you? Sorry for dropping coins. Can you include some links? Is there something to show already? High Speed Imagines?
Just 1 second. I'm just getting the links from my GitHub.
Yeah. Don't worry. We got time. It's the. It's not a fast-paced show. It's the audio. No, I'm mixing it up again. Bucky, I'm getting not used to this. It's the interactive blockchain. No, it's not. It's not the blockchain thingy. It's interactive audio social broadcasting. Oh my goodness, interactive social broadcasting. Thanks a lot. This is something that I can't. Yeah, blockchain. This would be easy. We just call it blockchain from now on. This is something that I can remember. Interactive social broadcasting. So, what is in this GitHub? This GitHub is from, I understood now. This is the GitHub from the Steam Android app. You just...
Yes, one of them is for the Steamer one.
Are we live?
And the other one is for the Steam Mini website. I will add the right operation soon for it. But right now you can have your own mini blog up and running over there. You can just change your username in a small file. And you can host it in your own domain. So it will just look better, almost like how WordPress is. So this will be like that. And the other project, I really can't have anything right now. I have some things I can't show anyone, but soon maybe I can as soon as I can, I'll put on Utopian and have everyone look at it.
Okay, understood. So the other thing is just not ready to tell, and you want to be at least keeping the idea, well, at least closed source as long as possible, because you think that it might be that others are working on this idea as well. Did I understood this correct?
Yes, mostly most everyone might have already got this idea. So I'm not really sure how unique it may be, but let's see if my implementation is better than the others, and maybe it can have a bigger impact.
Yeah, I totally understand that. Krim, you have caught me. I was watching Ned. I just opened my Internet Explorer, and somehow, yeah, now it's getting strange, I know. And I'm even turning a bit red. Yeah, because his hair is pretty magical. Yeah, I just opened Internet Explorer, and it was still the feed from yesterday's evening. So, sorry for that. Thanks for forgiving me. His hoodie was amazing. Shit. Good question, Ilya. Is it like engrave, or did I misunderstand? Now, a big problem is that I don't know what engrave is. Do you know? High Speed Imagines.
I had just read about it yesterday. Engrave is like hosting your own WordPress blog, but they've automated the entire process like WordPress. Mine is not that good of an implementation, but mine is simply you can just download this and just add your username, and you can have your entire blog over there appearing as it should be, and you can host on your own domain.
Ah, now I understand. So this is like an interface to the Steam blockchain, but that only shows your blog, so it can be, I don't know, exported or shown as in the front end as your blog, like any other blog software that is out there. Nevertheless, the backend still is pointing to the Steam blockchain, so it is agnostic to the front end method.
Yes, it's like the almost same thing. Only thing is that now, like WordPress, you can have your own domain and host it, show your projects over there, and they can still comment through Steam Connect. I will be adding that functionality, and it should appear the same, and it should be cost very less to you for hosting it. It's just simple HTML and JavaScript. Anyone can edit it as they want to, and add themes and along as they go.
Understood. And I also found a post from you about this, where you give some kind of an example how this could look like, or how it actually is looking currently, no?
Yes, actually, this was an idea. Originally, I had made a website for comedy open mic, and then I just branched out the entire idea and made it completely open, so anyone can use it for their own purpose, and even for their projects, they can add a specific tag and use it for quick implementation and go around before they invest in the entirety.
That's cool. That's really cool, because it's quite convenient, and obviously, well, I didn't check it out yet, but it's obviously not super hard to set up. And then you can have a cool looking blog without doing it twice, which is quite the other way around than this SteamPress is doing, no? SteamPress is doing a WordPress add-on for posting as well on the blockchain, and you are doing it other way around. You're posting on the blockchain and showing it, or is it basically the same?
SteamPress, they show your Steam along with your WordPress post.
Exactly.
But mine is only your blockchain posts so showing up.
Ah, okay, understood. Yeah,
this is fantastic. This is something that I've had many people ask me over, the 2 years that I've been here, when they say, hey, I hear about this whole blockchain thing, this whole Steam thing. We can have your blog that you control instead of, Facebook or Medium or, WordPress.com or whatever. And I've yet to have like a really easy to use, simple solution to just point people to. I did get to see the Engrave presentation by the Wise team in Krakow, and it was fantastic, and I got really excited about it. I know Steam Press has gone through multiple kind of iterations over time, but I'm definitely going to check this out. I think even for like EO Stack, we're looking at redoing. We're currently using a WordPress site, and we want to redo it as a static site because you can't have, there are no mechanisms for distributed consensus on what changes to a website get to be made, right? And we can do that through GitHub, pull requests and things like that. We can actually ensure that anyone in the community can contribute to the web representation. But this is taking it to an even another level, yes, where you could, put it all on the blockchain, and then you could have multi-signature accounts have permissions to actually, create the content in the beginning. So very cool. I'm definitely going to be checking it out.
Yeah, definitely it is. And it's looking, even apart from it being technically quite cool, it looks good. And this is for bloggers out there. This is quite important as well. It's looking easy and good, and yeah, and Krim maybe.
Yeah, nice.
Maybe a lot of people did do the same thing than you, Krim. Started on something like this, got almost nowhere, saw Engrave, and bowed out of it gracefully. When I learned one thing, I'm a software developer and manager for I don't know how many, from a feeling point of view, thousands of years. If I learned one thing, you don't have necessarily to do everything by yourself. There are very, very, very good developers out there that are sharing their deeds and their cool programs like High Speed Imagines with us in the open source world. So you definitely just need to have an open eye, and you don't need to do everything by yourself. So you can bow out gracefully for sure out of a lot of things.
I think that's one of probably the most important lessons. A more advanced developer in the software space. I mean, I built my first websites in 1996. I've been doing this for a little while. Been a conference speaker and stuff like that. And I heard the term "pie" at one point, proudly invented elsewhere, and it was a really good moment for me because I spent the last 10 years building FoxyCart, and in the beginning versions of it, it was an e-commerce solution that we pretty much rolled our own PHP from the ground up. And this is back, we started in 2006, 2007, putting the code together. And so it was like the idea that you could trust these other frameworks was like sacrilege. It was like, no, I have to write it all myself. We're PCI compliant, we have security concerns, and we're encrypting and storing credit cards. And it took me a long time to recognize like there are proper security procedures you can take to trust open source projects and open source platforms and plugins and all these different things, so that you can actually focus on your core competency, focus on the thing that you're good at, focus on what you excel at, and let others do the parts that you're not going to focus on.
Yeah, there are other people excelling at things that you are not. So you just need to find them, basically, because like I said, I totally share your view. There is a lot of people out there happy to share and that are really, really damn good at what they do. So like High Speed Imagines is. Thanks a lot for showing this, because initially I didn't want to talk about this, but this is now putting a nice twist, because this is actually the good thing. The one thing I like about the Steam blockchain most is that a lot of really talented people, and not only software developers, for sure not, a lot of other people like Bucky and artists, and a lot of people are on this blockchain sharing things. Just like amazing things like this program. And on the other hand side, there is a community on the other hand, not side, on the other hand. I'm sorry, nothing is magic. I'm really trying. On the other hand, there is a lot of community that is praising them, even though if the community is small, for this tasks that they are sharing, or for the apps that they are sharing, or for the pictures or whatever, sound pieces. This is what I really, really like about this blockchain. Talent.
Thank you, Jedi. Thank you so much. And thank you to Lux.
Thank you for contributing to Utopian. Thank you for contributing to this community, to the Steam community in general, because this is actually making the difference. And this is, adding value, not just like, I don't know, there are some things not adding value, but this for sure is, and this is the one things I'm really proud of. Thank you, High Speed Imagined, and come back if you got your Google account back or another one set up, so that the Steamer app is then again listed on the Android apps page in the Google Play Store.
Yes, I will surely do that, and hopefully the project comes back soon. I can show it to all of you how good or how bad it was.
Yeah, thanks a lot for you being there, taking your time, informing us about your latest accomplishments and latest started projects. And we're definitely looking forward to that little secret that you have somewhere out there where you're currently working at that you sadly cannot tell us now, but we're definitely very much interested in to learn what this is about.
Yes, hopefully soon.
Oh yeah, is it soon TM, just like our beloved Utopian version 2 is, or is it even sooner?
Somewhere in the middle, I would say.
All right, understood. So I wish you the best and happy coding, and thanks a lot for you being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Okay, thanks a lot. This was High Speed Imagines with his new project. I don't know how it's called. Comstuff, High Speed Imagines, Steam Light front end, whatever. It's here is the article again, and it's freely available in this repository on GitHub. And don't forget his Steamer app that is currently sadly not available in the Google Play Store, but soon will be listed again. And if you were searching for an easy interface on the mobile handheld device into the Steam blockchain, this may be a thing that is, or this is aiming exactly at this, and it may fit your needs and be a convenient option. Not the only option though, this is what we need to say definitely. Steamer app is not the only option to have an interface to the Steam blockchain, but it's one option. And the great Buckydurddle just entered the room, which most likely means that there is a raffle to be held. So what is the prize going to be today, Bucky?
Okay, say with me, Humble Bundle.
Wait, I'm repeating. Humble Bundle, but it's so hard to do.
Humble Bundle. So we have some classic game bundle going on here. I just posted up the text in the window so you can have a look at what it is. It's a little giveaway we're going to do. Humble Bundle. The way the raffle works, for anybody that's new, the way the raffle works is once it starts, it's not started yet, you will need to you need to type in some text into our chat in order to be able to qualify. And then our lovely raffle bot, which is created by our good friend Victor. How do you say Victor's Steemit name? Help me out here.
He's called Jestem Kioskium.
Jestem Kioskium?
Yeah. Jestem Kioskium, I think.
Oh. Yes, Jestem Kioskium. Okay. Excellent. Well, just like that. I don't have a grasp on English.
Yes. Wait 1 second. I do even know the Git link from him. So if anybody wants to have his own raffle bot, because he also put this open source for sure, you can look here and find this great raffle bot that we are using from Victor or Jestem Kioskium.
And thank you very much to Victor for doing that, because we use it every week and it works great. So the way this works is once I start the raffle, you'll need to answer the question I'm going to ask, and your text will be caught by the bot, and that will make you included in the raffle. So here we go. Here's the question that you're going to need to write in some text about. You're going to have to answer this question. In Steamfest 3, we know that there was a lot of wall licking. In Steamfest 4, what will be licked?
Oh my God! Seriously, Bucky? Oh,
Seriously,
oh dear
this
God!
is a scientific question.
You've opened a can of.
Worms, yeah, definitely.
Everybody has to type in their Ned's here. Nice. Yeah, I guess it depends on where we are in the world. Maybe if it's in like Tabasco, Mexico, it will be like chilies will be licked. Or Belgium, it will be chocolate will be licked. I like it. Or if we're having Steamfest in Espoim's apartment, it will be ice cream will be licked. No, there will be no licking.
Ilana's teeth.
Really? Is it going to be in Mexico? Is that the plan? Because if it is going to be in Mexico, I can probably do that.
I hope.
Oh, come on. Oh, come on.
Also,
Yeah,
Krim, you can lick anything you want, like of mine. Just
a cow lick.
Yeah.
And the winner is
Crypto Rick. You got all the computer games. Ah.
Yahoo!
Woohoo!
Your first time here, and you like get everything. That's
Yeah, directly cashing in things. Great. So again, what
was Crypto Rick's licking suggestion?
I'm just searching.
Ned. I think he suggested licking Ned.
I'm still searching. Net. Yeah, exactly. He said net. Found it. I was way too far up in the conversation.
Yeah, a lot of people had things they thought should be licked. Honestly, now I'm hungry.
Oh, Scribble now it's unlimited. This is great.
I'm sorry. There's a picture of food now. Ned will be licked. I think this needs to be in the press release for Steam. Oh God. For Steamfest 4.
Yeah. So
somebody's going to have to do a post for Steam it, suggesting the various targets of licking for Steamfest 4, and maybe to make some scientific assessments of what will be the most appropriate licking target.
Yeah, very good idea, basically.
So basically, every Steamfest from now on will have a licking event of some sort. That's kind of like going to be a thing now, isn't it?
German Steamfest 4. I don't know.
What did he win? Well, he won a Humble Bundle game package from Warner Brother Games.
Yes.
That includes Scribblenauts Unlimited, Shadow of Mordor, and Batman Arkham Origins. And I kind of really, really do want it. And on the other hand, where will I ever find the time? So, yeah.
Yeah, most likely you won't, but Scribblenauts Unlimited is really cool.
Yeah, I keep calling myself a gamer, but I don't play any games. I don't have any time to do it.
Oh my
So
God.
you're a player, but you don't play.
Story of my life.
Yeah, people say are you a gamer? Oh yeah, I'm a gamer. What do you play? Well, I play Metroid Prime from 1998.
Yeah, I wanted to ask in what year this was made.
I know. EverQuest. Yeah, I love EverQuest. It's great. Okay, and I'll send it the information to our winner, Crypto Rick, a little later. So I'll send you some information.
Yeah, Diego, you're totally right. Prices are moving away from the open source thing just a little bit. On the other hand side, we cannot always send out books because sadly there is not always a humble book bundle.
But this is a wonderful opportunity to ask you all to send us ideas for things that you think would be awesome raffle prizes that are related to open source and Salt Lick Bundle. No, that we're definitely not going to raffle that. But yeah, if you guys have ideas, personally, I think we should go back to raffling Udemy courses because I thought that was cool, and I'm still looking forward to seeing who was it? I think it was Amos. Yes, Amos did not win a date with SPOM. He doesn't deserve it, but he did win something I think about copywriting or content writing, and I'm actually looking forward to seeing what happened with that.
Oh my Bucky.
But by the way, I could just show off and tell you that Espoir bought me a drink. So that's just like, there you go.
Amazing.
Yes.
So the only guy on earth that can really, really walk on water bought you a drink.
Yes.
That's quite impressive, actually.
Yeah, I know. I kind of like, can you buy me and I'll pay you back? And then I didn't pay him back. And it was like, Espoir bought me a drink.
Yeah, not bad, really. What we did wanted to raffle in former times was things that we have to send to you, but so physical things that we have to send to you. But this is making a lot of problems actually because well, you know, this is an interactive global open source program. So a lot of us is not living close to each other. So sending something to Newfoundland, for instance, if we want to, if Bucky is winning anything, is maybe worth or costing more than the item that we're going to send there. So that was part of the problem because initially we wanted to send like Raspberry Pi so that you can directly try out programming things that you heard about or open source things for the community or whatever, or we wanted sending those t-shirts. So utopian t-shirts would also be a good idea, but there is a lot of problems connected to sending physical goods in this world. Yeah, if you got any ideas how to somehow get around this, please let us know because we definitely do want to go there. On the other hand, forget this side. We don't know how to do this on a clever way. Not yet, but maybe there is some idea coming. You still got some of those t-shirts left, Ilana, I heard.
I actually gave them all to Diego because there was really no point in dragging them back to Israel. So he's the one with the t-shirts, so bounce him. However, there was a thing with the t-shirts that I think I told you last week, that when I ordered the t-shirts, I ordered basically the same amounts of sizes and colors that I would for, you know, any tech conference. So it was mostly, you know, dark colors, big sizes, and so I didn't get a lot of like the lighter colors and smaller sizes, and those were the ones to run out first because there were a lot more girls than we initially thought there would be. So I was really surprised. Didi, I have your shirts in my living room, and don't worry, you'll get your shirts. I promise. All you had to do is just come visit me and
so Didi has just to come visiting you, and we in Newfoundland, Germany, and wherever we are, we cannot come
also just have
you.
to come, you know. No, you'll have to come visit Diego.
Yeah,
Print your own
I understood
t-shirts.
that, Krim. It's a crying Canadian flag, but I can add a crying German flag to this as well. Print your own t-shirts.
Well, we will, you know what? Just you're gonna have to come to the next Steam Fest, and
if
we'll
this
bring
is
more
in
t-shirts.
Acapulco, this is it's gonna be a bit of a cumbersome travel, but yeah.
Oh my God! Please no.
For you even more than for me, because obviously you're living further east than I.
Oh God.
I'm hoping for Steam Fest in Puerto Rico for obvious reasons. We're moving in less than 2 weeks now. But who wouldn't want to spend Steam Fest in a crypto utopia, you know, island paradise, right? Let's do it.
Malta's
definitely.
pretty close. Malta, let's go with Malta. I'm all for Malta.
Yeah, from Israel, that's quite close. I agree.
You said crypto paradise island. I'm going with Malta. It's yeah.
Yeah, it's somehow crypto paradise island as well. I agree. Yeah, so after this big disappointment of Diego eating all his shirts and only giving 2 or so to Ilana to distribute in Israel, and Bucky and me just being left out in the dark, and Amos and a lot of other people. So this is now really a big disappointment. Yeah, we're shirtless. I'm not doing this now. I'm just saying it. So just don't get hectically onto Vim or something like that. I still have my shirts on, but I'm shirtless in regards to an Utopian t-shirt, which is really making me direly sad. And I'm feeling very shirtless as well, Bucky. And Amos. Utopian Fest 1. There will be tons of t-shirts, promised. That's a good thing, Diego. I'm really looking forward to whenever this is going to happen. So nevertheless, after having talked about a lot of other things and about high-speed dimensions and about with Ilana about licking walls, I think we can go on talking to our next guest, which is Luke Stokes. He's doing a lot of things on the Steam blockchain. Obviously, he dragged his whole family to Poland to be part of Steamfest 3. And he's also a witness on the blockchain. And he's around for quite a long time. And as he said, he programmed his first website in 1996, which basically was the time of frames, I think, because I was around there as well.
Yeah, frames and JavaScript mouse overs. Like if you could make your menu.
Oh yeah, mouse
swap
overs.
Images, you were amazing. And dynamic HTML, DHTML. That's what we used to call it. We could modify the DOM with JavaScript. It was like, woo!
Yeah, it was amazing things happening.
Oh my god, I remember writing my first website in Notepad. I remember this.
How many people had a GeoCities account?
Yeah, I had 2 of them. I still remember
yeah.
the address.
My first homepages were my first sites were all about my animated GIF collection because I had a badass animated GIF collection. And then my process was essentially, start with HTML, eventually learn gravitate to JavaScript, and then eventually, become a quote unquote real programmer and start using PHP. So I wrote my own my own guest book because those were all the rage. I had my own MySQL powered guest book on my website, and I thought it was just like a god.
Yeah, amazing.
Wow, you were. Mine was manual.
I actually it was part of my senior project. Now that I think about it, I did some stuff. I was running my own web server from my own computer out of my dorm, and it had I did a bunch of things. I had it was all it was a data driven website, and at the time it was like, wow, that's kind of fancy.
Yeah, it was definitely, and I still Team Humble just said ICQ ? I still remember my ICQ number. That's quite a bad thing.
I thought mine was like 130,000, but somebody told me that's probably not possible. So it might have been 1.3 million, but I really think I had 1,000, but I can't find the number.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing how fast things went out of fashion as well, especially ICQ. It was amazing when it started, and it was over.
It's an Israeli. Fast. It was an Israeli company that was awesome. Mine was, by the way, 6 digits, and it was an Israeli company, and it was awesome. And then it was bought by AOL, and then it died.
Yeah. So let's talk about, if you want to transition into the new thing that'll be the new hotness that the years from now it'll become ubiquitous and everyone will know about it, and it won't allow for corporations like AOL to come and take them over. And that's, of course, decentralized autonomous communities. That's what I'm really excited about. It's what I've been working on. In a way, Steam is that. In a way, Bitcoin is that. In a way, all decentralized blockchain systems have kind of these ideals baked into them, that no single point of failure gets to decide what is consensus. No single point of failure gets to direct the will of an entire community, but instead the community gets to own and have governance influence on the actual system itself in a decentralized manner. So I've been working a lot lately with EOS DAC, and I know that gets a lot of people all upset, and they're like, how can you work with EOS? They're the enemy. I don't look at things that way at all. I look at every open source project on the planet is used to improve every other project on the planet in some way, shape, or form. We're all influenced by, standing on the shoulders of giants. And essentially the people that are the most interesting to me to work with are those who want to make the world a better place. And that includes improving well-being and using the tools and the technology we have to do that is just, that's my approach. I'm not a maximalist on any specific chain, any specific project, and I think that enables me to have a level of rationality when I evaluate how well is something doing at actually improving the world. And so I like you said, I try to get involved in a lot of different projects. And so lately I've been focusing on EOS Stack, and what we're trying to do is be a community-owned block producer for EOS, but also more importantly, be a DAC enabler. And do you guys much in the open source and utopian community talk much about decentralized autonomous communities?
That's a very good question. The community is quite far spread. I don't, but I don't know but pizza. Sorry, I just tried to connect what Crimson is saying to what we have been saying, and I just simply failed. So I talked out loud, which was something that I didn't want to do. I don't know exactly. It's. I think
like the example that was just given. I think it's an interesting. A centralized corporation has the ability to just be bought out by a larger corporation, and then the product goes away, and that. Is much more difficult to do when you don't have a single point of failure. When you're a decentralized community, a decentralized technology actually running on a blockchain, it enables something that is really, really powerful. And I think as open source developers, we should be aware of this stuff because it essentially protects our legacy. It protects the code that we build. We give it out to the world, and then we could give it out in a way that actually the world could continue using it far into the future, because if it's providing value, then there's a group of people that can actually own it and control it themselves in a decentralized way. It's a way to do governance related to software, related to code living on a blockchain, so it can't be controlled by any individual person, and it's really exciting stuff.
Yeah, definitely. So that's true partly because I share your view. On the other hand side, it won't. There will always be the event of trying. And therefore, I'm coming back to what Ilya has been saying, or Diego has been saying just a minute ago. And it was quite a question. It's true. Is it true what's being said? Witnesses are controlled by exchanges on EOS. Just asking. Just report what I hear.
Yeah, I think controlled is a strong word. I do think that voter engagement. I'm actually way behind, but I normally run a monthly voter engagement report on Steam, and I'm very proud of the Steam community is that because of the different social interfaces, there's a lot of engagement, and so there's a lot of voting for witnesses. And it's actually the last time I did a report, and the last few months were pretty much all the same. It was around 75%. And on EOS, it's not at all that high. So you do have the largest accounts, which happen to be exchange accounts, really influencing in a significant way, which block producers make up the top consensus. So I'm really hoping that, just like in any of these projects, the only way that they can have value is if they actually get the network effect of a lot of people being involved. And so I hope, anyone who's got EOS, I hope they do actually stake them and vote, because you're not going to have good governance without it. But again, I'm not fully focused just on the project or this chain over that chain. For me, it's what does EOS enable us to do to build DACs, and why is that important? And so I think, like, for example, just earlier this week, we had a code change that we had to push out for the DAC. It's a new smart contract that we're putting out there. And the permissions on that code are actually controlled by a multi-signature system on the blockchain. And this is really important. And I know that there are levels of this capability within Steam as well, and I think they're underutilized. But they're also on EOS, and to a degree they're on Ethereum and some other, you can obviously do multi-signature transactions on Bitcoin and other blockchains as well. But on Ethereum, for example, if you write code, you can never change it. It's like immutable. It's there forever. But on EOS, and I think it's going to be probably the standard in the future, you can, software is constantly evolving, constantly changing, and that's kind of the point, especially if that software is running a community, which is also evolving and changing. And so what we did earlier this week is it was kind of a standard thing you do. But I realized, like, man, nobody's really talking about this in the community, that when you push out code onto a blockchain, one, you have to manage the private key for that code, where it lives. If it's a single person, then you have a single point of failure. And most of the hacks in the blockchain space are not necessarily that the code was written poorly, that the developer screwed up, but generally there was some management process of private keys that screwed up. Someone hacks into a server or whatever, and they get access to private keys, and then they start doing bad things. And so what we can do to solve that is multi-permission, multi-signature permissions. So you need, like a 203 or something like that to actually have a transaction on the blockchain. And so we have that with our code, but then with that process, you get this big nasty hex of just ones and zeros and all kinds of craziness, and it's hard to know, well, what code is actually being pushed out. And so what I was walking through recently was the idea of how to take that transaction that's sitting out there on the blockchain saying, hey, I want to modify some code, and actually convert it back into like a hash that you can verify when you compile the code on GitHub yourself. And this is like such an important concept. And I like that I could talk about tech stuff here with the Utopian community, because you guys are a bunch of developers and open source hackers. You can get what I'm saying.
I just wanted to go one step back. I'm just searching for the way to pull you back one step, because maybe this multi-signature thing is a common concept to some of us. But can you elaborate a bit more on what this means?
Yeah, let me unpack it. So essentially with most systems, and this is, you have a single private key and it controls that account. And if that account, like on EOS, each EOS account you can set code on the actual account. So the account itself can be like a smart contract, can be a program, almost a microservice that's out there running. And so whoever has that private key controls that code. And if we're talking lots and lots of money, this is a really dangerous thing. So a multi-signature permission system essentially says, okay, for this account, I'm going to have these different layers of permissions that can do certain things. Like on Steam, you have your active permission that can, transfer money and stuff. You got your posting permission, and then you've got your owner permission and memo key, that kind of stuff. And what you do is you set up different weights. So you say, okay, I'm going to set up this account. So for example, I'll use EOS Stack as an example. We are setting it up so that every 7 days, the token holders that are part of that decentralized autonomous community will vote for custodians. Those top 12 custodians get voted in every 7 days. And immediately the smart contract code will modify the permissions that control the funds for the DAC and the code for the DAC. And then we're talking, hundreds of thousands of dollars at this point, via multi-signature permissions. So you have these 12 people, their own private key is now participating in this multi-signature system of permissions where you need a 2/3 plus 1. We actually have high, medium, and low. We have these different categories of permission levels. And the only way to do anything is to propose a multi-sig transaction on the blockchain. So somebody says, here's what I want to do, and it's now on the blockchain. Those other people then come in and say, okay, I'm going to review it, I'm going to check it out, and I get to approve it or not. And if you get enough approvals, then it's as if you signed it with a single private key that had enough approvals. So the weight of each signature, so let's say it's like a weight of 7 or something. So now you need 7 out of those 12 to sign it with their own private key, sign the transaction before it'll be accepted by the blockchain. So what's cool about this is you can do this as an individual as well. I can actually have one account private key on my cell phone, another account on my laptop, and maybe another private key sitting over like on my wife's laptop. And if I have like a lot of funds that I want to protect, like a bank account, for example, I could put them in an account where the only way to transfer them would be to get all 3 of these accounts, all 3 of these different devices to sign a message to transfer them. And that's a basic multi-signature permission system. It's one of the most powerful features of blockchains, and I feel like it's underutilized, and so I want to make sure this community knows about it for sure.
It is definitely underutilized currently. And
it becomes even more important when we start putting code out there, such as decentralized exchanges or banking systems or insurance systems or whatever we start building on the blockchain. If a single human being controls the private key that controls that code, we've got a problem.
Definitely, yeah. And I agree to Diego at least a bit that we are missing tools to make things easier. It's quite complicated.
Yes, yeah. Well, I did a video a couple of weeks ago just demonstrating, it's really simple actually, it's just a bunch of shell scripts that we use every, couple times a month at DAC to sit there and actually transfer out, because we have a worker proposal system where members of the DAC come in and they add value to the DAC and then they get paid via the funds from the block production. And the custodians essentially we create all these multi-signature permissions, a whole slew of them, and then we have these scripts that just kind of run through and sign each one. It kind of pulls from a CSV file, creates all the different multi-signatures, and then there's an interface for reviewing them and approving them, and it makes it really, really easy. And it's just a bunch of simple shell scripts interacting with Kleos, which is similar to Steam, where we have the wallet CLI, command line interface. But I definitely agree. Pushing these features out to the user interface in a way that's super easy and super simple is really needed.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't know about this inertia, by the way, that we're having in Steam Ruby. Oh, my Ruby is so rusted. Nevertheless, in Steam Ruby, the opportunity or the exposure of this multi-signature topic, I just had a quick look into the Git itself, and it's quite cool. It's looking quite basic on the other hand side, on the one hand, but it's quite cool that it exists nevertheless. Sadly, though, really my Ruby is quite rusted.
I'd love to answer a high-speed Imogen says, what is a DAC? And if you wouldn't mind, I'd love to dive into that even more.
Yeah, dive in, please.
It's a DAC. This concept came about, really, Dan Larimer was kind of one first to really talk about it. There's some great write-ups from Vitalik Buterin from Ethereum, and other people have talked about it as well. A synonym would be DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization, or decentralized autonomous community, decentralized autonomous company or corporation. You know, the C has been used in different ways. The D, the decentralized word, has been hotly debated, you know, and we've come to the definition of no single point of failure. That's what we mean when we say decentralized. And then the A, the autonomous part, that is also highly controversial because some people think that it means you're an AI system. You know, it's all run by code. There's no human beings involved at all. It's completely autonomous. We've taken the approach where humans are always going to be involved. If we're writing code that matters to the world, that should hopefully improve the lives of human beings. So the idea that the humans that are involved in such a way that everything is transparent, everything's reproducible. You put in certain inputs, you have a provable mechanism for getting certain outputs. And that's the autonomous part of it. You can swap out the human beings. And the example I gave with our system, with the custodians that get voted in, you know, yes, they have to actually approve and sign multi-signature permissions and push out code changes and config changes and things like that, or do transfers, approve worker proposals, that kind of stuff. But they can be removed at any time. And that's the autonomous part of it, is that you can swap out the human beings. If they're a bad actor, you can use your token stake-weighted vote to remove them and bring in someone else who's going to add more benefit to the community. So why DACs are important, why this idea is so amazing, is a lot of the systems in the world today, from nation-state governments to corporations to, you know, all these other systems, they have single points of failure. They have a lot of centralization, and they have a lot of corruption because they don't have the same level of transparency that we're starting to see in the blockchain world. And because of that lack of transparency, there's a whole bunch of opportunity for people to do really bad things. And so you get essentially this disconnect between the customers, the employees, and the owners, where they're not creating value between each other. Instead, they're competing with each other. Customers just want to do the least, they want to get the best product without paying any money. The employees want to do the least amount of work and get paid the most amount of money. And the owners pretty much screw everybody, provide the worst service and pay, you know, the worst amount to their employees. So instead, when you tokenize things, you create a situation where everybody who's using the token then gets rewarded by the work they're doing by making the product better. So then they become owners who increase the value of their stake. And then they, as a customer, their product is better because they saw a problem and they fixed it as an employee. And it's just this beautiful cycle that is fantastic.
That is making totally sense. Is there anything planned already for this to happen when SMT is launching as well? Do you know?
I think there are aspects of it, absolutely, that you can do as an SMT. There are certain, like if you go and read the actual DAC Wikipedia page, for example, it specifically describes smart contracts on a blockchain. So that's the part that, because Steem is not an open smart contract blockchain, it might be a little more difficult to do that. But with SMTs, you get the idea of an oracle. So there are aspects of what might be done on a smart contract, you could just move to a group of oracles. So yeah, I think from that standpoint, you could definitely do that. There's also obviously the idea of like Steem Monsters is up and running, and they have defined essentially an off-chain processor for an on-chain data protocol. And I think that is another mechanism as well.
It's quite an impressive connection of being on and off chain, what Steem Monsters is currently doing. I agree.
And I think that's an example that you can really pretty much do whatever you want as long as it's transparent and there's consensus for how the protocol functions. I had some great conversations with Matt at Steamfest. You know, he recognizes he is a single point of failure right now. If he were to just go and change the protocol or interpret it differently or whatever, then everybody would be pretty upset about that. But the idea being, if we put this code instead on a blockchain, then no one can change it without consent of the governance model you put in place, like the custodians or direct, democracy with the token holders, however you set it up.
Are they trying to go that way? Well, you're not Steve Monster, so this is just...
No, they are actually. Like, through those conversations, he definitely excited about that. I think the more we talked about it, the more it seemed to me to essentially become a side chain. I don't know if he would like it maybe categorized that way, but it really would be, multiple nodes running via the community consensus to kind of ensure the protocol has the integrity we all believe it to have, so that anybody could validate, any aspect of the Steam Monsters ecosystem without having to trust a single point of failure. And at that point, now it is fully decentralized.
Yeah, true. Right now, it's kind of a mixture thingy that's happening, because it's the data keeping itself. Yes, it's decentralized and it's running on the Steam blockchain, but there are a lot of aspects not being decentralized completely.
Yeah, and I know DAX is kind of like this new concept, but it's actually been around for a few years now, at least. And there's been a lot of great discussion about it. Unfortunately, a lot of people, when they hear DAO or DAC, they just think of the Ethereum hack. Like, there was this $100-something million project that was going to build DACs and DAOs, and it just blew up in everybody's faces. And so maybe that's why people haven't looked into it even more. But I really, really do strongly believe it's the future for a lot of amazing potential benefits for humanity. If we can set on-chain global nonviolent consensus mechanisms via decentralized autonomous communities, you can get people to agree to things and work together and create synergies and tokenize it all, so that even areas that have no other mechanisms for economic freedom can just create their own community just immediately with the software. It'll live on a blockchain, so it can't be censored, it can't be controlled by whatever jurisdiction they happen to be in, and they can create value for themselves in really amazing ways. And it can work for any project. I think my vision for the future would be, you don't hear these Silicon Valley code bros going, hey, look at my new startup. Instead, it's going to be, look at this community that I helped create that's completely open. And one of the things with EOS DAC that we're passionate about is every single thing we create is open source, because everything we create is going to be given away back to the community. And that's a really cool thing. I'm really excited about that. So that eventually, when we get in place and we get this, this DAC enabler concept, we're building this DAC toolkit, where within a couple clicks, you'll be able to just create your own DAC. So as an entrepreneur myself, I've got ideas of things I'd like to do in the future. And I'm already thinking like, oh man, I'm totally going to build these as DACs, because one of the ideas as part of that is you may end up building something where, like, I don't know how many entrepreneurs we have in the audience, but essentially often as an entrepreneur, you're like, oh, I need this thing. Oh, and then now I need to build this and I need to build that. And you end up having to build like 2 or 3 companies just to meet the needs of the main company you're actually passionate about. And the cool thing about this model is you could build all of those as DACs, and the individual communities that are passionate about those services can keep those running and going forward. And that way you can focus on what you like best and what you want to do most. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah, definitely is. But you said something quite bringing me back to another topic that I wanted to talk about. And you said blowing it up in each other's faces. And you meant the project that was launched in EOS to build all those DACs and DAOs and whatever. That just simply...
Well, that was actually on Ethereum. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was on Ethereum. I'm sorry.
That caused the Ethereum Classic fork, and it was a pretty major issue.
True. It was on Ethereum. Sorry for that, EOS guys. It was on Ethereum. Blowing it up in each other's faces. Do you think that the current market, the bearish market that we are currently having, is having any effect on all of these cool developments that we are having out there, because they are seriously lacking funds to go forward? Or is it, I don't know, I'm just thinking about how this is affecting the outer world, because we all live in a kind of bubble, knowing a lot of things that other people, normal people, I would like to say, not living in that bubble don't know. And they all just have this bad impression. Oh yeah, Bitcoin is going to drop to, I don't know, another 100 billions vanished simply into thin air. And it's a lot of bad news that is being shouted out into the world into the last days. How do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's well, I bought my first Bitcoin in 2013 in January. I spent $50 and I got 2.5 Bitcoin. So I got in early enough to the point where I don't have to completely freak out about the price. Now that said, I sold my business at the beginning of this year, went all in cryptocurrency, and pretty much have lost like ridiculous amounts of value this year.
Yeah, I just wanted to say this was
oh my gosh, like of all years to go in, of all the times to go full on cryptocurrency. I mean, literally, I'm completely in cryptocurrency. Every month, my wife, Karine, will show me what the budget is, and I will go and sell crypto to cover the fiat needs. I mean, so I'm fully on board with this. I gave presentations in 2013 about how Bitcoin and blockchain could be more disruptive than the internet, and I still believe that today. I think in these intense bear markets, we're so early on, and I say this often, but it really rings true with me. It's like 1993, 1990 of the internet. It's very early on, so the outside they're just not even close to understanding what's going on yet, right? They said the same things about the internet. Oh, it's just used by criminals and child pornographers and all these bad people.
Well, they're not
dealers,
completely wrong, is it?
The internet. Yeah, and they say the same thing about blockchain and cryptocurrency. But I think that the exciting part is nice market bear inertia card. That's fantastic. the exciting thing about what we're realizing, and this is, I think, a big thing that I've been thinking about quite a bit lately with regards to our worker proposal system with EO Stack. We externally incentivize people to contribute via payments, right? And what's beautiful about the open source community is that people just contribute code all the time just because they're passionate about it. They don't get paid. They don't often prior to Utopian, and it's created the internet. It's created Apache. It's created all these amazing things that we have around us because there's the power to intrinsic motivation versus extrinsic motivation from a psychological motivation perspective. People do their most creative work when they're doing it for themselves, not because someone else is telling them we're going to give you some reward, right? But at the same time, people got to pay their bills, right? And that's what Utopian's all about. Like people have to, support their families. And so I've been thinking a lot about how these bear markets can impact the payments that we can make to our own community. And then also how those who are committed, like, I guess like me, people that have gone all in and just like thrown caution to the wind at this point. And I have savings, I've paid off my house. So I'm not in a desperate financial situation, which is, again, really important. I think people need to get financial education as much as they need technical education.
Yeah, definitely.
And from that standpoint, I'm able to basically hopefully make good decisions about, like, I'm here to build something for the future. So it doesn't matter to me what happens in the next, year or two. It matters to me 5, 10, 15 years down the road. What am I creating a better world for my kids? I've got skin in the game, literally with my family and this is part of the reason I'm moving to Puerto Rico, leaving on the 4th. We're leaving in less than 2 weeks now because there's a lot of interesting stuff going on in Puerto Rico, and it's an island where, because of Act 20 and 22 different tax benefits, a lot of people in the cryptocurrency space are looking at it and thinking about it. And, if I can use that money instead of paying for like the military industrial complex, as an example, I can use that money to pay for, building infrastructure and helping actually cause some of these ideas to become a reality to serve human beings and build governance systems, for example, on blockchains that are more effective than the corruption that they've always known.
Yeah, I'm totally with you, but there is always this stretch you got to do on between you having to pay bills. You just said it correctly. The best things are done out of intrinsic motivation because you just love what you do and you spend all your heart with it, and you just make the best of thoughts. On the other hand side, you got to really pay bills and have something to eat and maybe a roof above your head. So I was not in 2013, so I did not spend $50 to have some Bitcoins. I came late, which is quite crazy because I'm very technical guy always, and somehow I just missed out completely on all this cryptocurrency things until maybe 2 years ago. So I came in and I'm even now, I would say. Which is not a bad thing because I anyways didn't want to make money with cryptocurrencies. It was just a fantastic idea to have the opportunity to send money to someone that is somewhere, I don't know, from me in New Zealand, a million miles away. And it was without any cost and without anything, strings attached, without any banks and whatever. It was simply going there, and he or she is able to 2 moments later to buy something with it. This is still the idea that brought me in, because this is amazing.
Yeah, it's super powerful. The idea, I mean, so for me, I kind of, I heard about that fake internet money in 2011. You can just create it on your own computer. Yeah, right. But then as I started looking into it more, and I remember seeing, I think it was the anonymous Twitter handle, like had a Bitcoin address on their Twitter handle. What? These guys aren't stupid, and they understand security. So if they're trusting this as funding, that's, now I need to give it a second look, right? So I started looking at it a little more, and learning about the cryptographic nature of it, and started learning about transparency of blockchains. And I was also kind of diving into kind of the history of central banking, down the whole creature from Jekyll Island rabbit hole, recognizing like, man, a lot of the violence and wars we see in the world are because nation state governments have a monopoly on the control of currency, and they use that control to basically build military empires. And I was like, wow, and these pieces started coming together, and I started thinking about the power of sovereign money. A lot of people like to get very upset at central bankers, but ultimately I think they just took the power that we all have. Money, financial value itself is just to get a little philosophical here, they're just it's just a shared story. It's just an agreement. We all kind of believe that pieces of paper with dead people on them have value. Yep. So therefore it does, and this idea that the central bankers are doing something so terribly evil, it's like, well, yeah, to a degree. And at the same time, they're just using power that exists. And I would hope that we all take up that power. And I'm really excited about smart media tokens, because I think that will empower so many great projects and communities in open source world and beyond to just create their own token. And if their community, it was mentioned earlier in the channel, the way to get investors excited is talk about your community. If their community, because a network effect brings value, if their community believes in the project, then that token will have value. And you can build mechanisms with DAX, for example. You can build mechanisms to then govern that value. And that's, I think, a really important piece that's going to be coming in the future. Because if you do this token drop and all of a sudden everyone's got all this value, now you have to think about who controls that token. How do they control how it's managed, and can someone just come along and just print another million tokens if they wanted to, for example? And these are things that the more we decentralize the governance and the more we make it transparent, put on our blockchain, the more trust we have, so the more we can create a better story of value.
By the way, talk about SMTs, and I totally agree to what you said. I don't want to go down that road completely, because I work for a bank in my other life. So just
gotta be careful. Yeah.
Let's just not get down that road completely. Just leave it as it is. What is your view? Well, you talked about SMTs, and you talked about bringing this up. I think they are coming. They should come in January on the testnet, I think, if I'm not completely mistaken. At least this is the last information that I read somewhere. Did you also think, I heard that in SteamFest 3, and now I'm asking about your SteamFest 3 experience a bit, and maybe Ilana, if you can help, or you can jump in as well if you have understood something differently. But I get transmitted the idea that Ned said simply put, or to be put in simple words, that he's concentrating now on something else. I think it's called Destiny, a new company of his, and that was basically the news. Is this true? And how do you...
He's been talking about it for a little while, here's the way I interpret it. So SteamFest 2, my big revelation was essentially Steemit.com was never really the focus of Steemit Incorporated. It was just a reference implementation, and I can say that in this community, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's a reference implementation of how to use the Steem blockchain. And I think that we all got so excited about the potential that we just got all freaked out, and we're like, oh my gosh, Steemit's going to take over Facebook. It's going to be awesome. But really we weren't in alignment with the actual expectations of the group of people actually building it. And that's why we haven't seen the updates to Steemit's interface that we'd like to see. It was never a priority. And it's even more so not a priority now. Conductor, you can just watch the GitHub repo. There's not a whole lot of activity going on.
And if there
and that's on purpose.
And if there is strange activity is going on. So yeah, obviously it's on purpose.
Yeah, and so Destiny, I think, is just a way to potentially show a real product on the Steem blockchain done professionally. That's my hope, is what it is, and I think that's a really valuable and useful thing. I think, for example, EOS.io and Block One, they're taking a similar approach from what I understand. They're going to have some kind of flagship product. I think that's the expectation that people have, that those who are most vested in this are going to be leading the way to demonstrate how valuable it is to the investors in the community. So I do think that, that's going to be, potentially a good thing. Do I think that will take away in any way, shape, or form from the productivity of development of SMTs? I actually don't. And I may be wrong about that, but the reason my evidence for that is essentially their burn down charts that they're publishing every week. They're being very open and very transparent about their development process and the progress they're making. And so I feel like unless they stop doing that, we have a way to hold them accountable to say, hey, look, you made this commitment that at some point next year, we're going to have these SMTs to play with. And we're looking at your progress. You're not going to meet your target if you're not on track, that kind of deal. So my hope is that Steam Incorporated has enough money to fund multiple teams to do the things they need to do. That said, another one of my takeaways for SteamFest 3 was essentially, and I mean no offense here, but Ned and a centralized kind of single point of failure shouldn't matter very much. And I'll go out on a limb to say I think he might even agree on some level in that I think he wants a decentralized system as well. And I may be wrong about that. I don't mean to speak for him, but ultimately, if what we believe is true and we are running an actual decentralized blockchain as a community, then there shouldn't be a single point of failure, and the CEO of a single company shouldn't matter as much. So part of me, I was a little disappointed to see, like, I didn't feel like Ned engaged the community a whole lot during the event. I had some great conversations with Antarchy, good friends with him. We spent a lot of time talking, and he kind of was like, well, he's got important meetings and stuff, and he kind of was like, oh, kind of, and it got me thinking, you know what, maybe it shouldn't matter. And that's kind of my stance now. Is like, I the fact that we all think it matters is almost like something we still have to improve, right? It's all something we have to kind of think about and say, you know what, we are the ones that should be in decentralized thinking. We shouldn't be focused on the old model, which is, well, what is the CEO saying? What does the hierarchy say? Instead, it's like, what are we saying?
Yeah, that's funny, no? We are living on in this super agile world, and you talk about burn down charts and things like that, which is, well, it's not super new in software development, but it's still, if you're working in, like me, in an old-fashioned company, being agile and things like that is still something to look at and to go for and such things. On the other hand side, we are still looking, even though we are quite in this agile environment, we're still looking to what Ned is doing, and it's still kind of important. And I agree, maybe this is some head game, mind games that we have to do for ourselves. Ilana, what was your impression? You still around, my dear?
Honestly, yeah, I'm here. Honestly, I my impression with Ned from Steamfest was a bit like complicated. He expects, on one hand, he really expects the community to sort of do all the work and build the apps and make sure that it all works. And at the same time, he kind of wants to still have the control. So I honestly, I don't know if any of you have seen his recent streams. I don't know what to make of him. Honestly, I don't know what to make of him, and I don't know where he's going and what he's aiming at right now. Destiny, that's kind of his thing. That's all he cares about, I think.
Yeah, I agree to Grim as well. That just said that he might actually try to step back and use his interest and focus as a good excuse to do so. But he also wants the community to step up. Step the fuck up. Sorry, I'm just reading it, it's not in my own words. I just read out Grim's words, and she said fuck, so I need to, or she written fuck, so I need to say it as well. It's an interesting dynamic. YouTube streams. Yeah, you just heard this because I had this still open in my Internet Explorer. Because I did actually look at it a bit yesterday. I'm a guitar player so myself, so I thought, yeah, let's give it a go. But this hoodie that he wore is seriously turned me off. So
I broke down when he was strumming the guitar with his teeth. That's kind of what broke me. I mean, with all the dental issues I've recently had, just seeing that, and I actually told him, I messaged him and said that he really, really needs a co-host, and he wrote, yeah, I think you're right. So yeah, he was strumming his guitar with his teeth which just completely just broke me. That broke
Yeah, I
me.
didn't
It's
see
pretty-
that as well, Patient Zero.
It's probably there in the recording. I will not be able to watch it. It's just like it hurts my credit card because I know how much dental stuff hurts. So financially, that is. So I can't watch it.
Yeah, definitely. So I will try to pick out that teeth strumming scene as well, because I just turned in and turned out again, so I didn't watch it completely.
That demands to be memed. It just does.
Yeah, definitely. This is if it's really in there, Ilana, I thank you now already, because this is definitely meant to be memed. Yeah, so if somebody finds it, please write a post about it on Steam, so I will know, or I just check it myself. And yes, Krim, you could really volunteer for being the show host or the co-host of Ned when he's playing his guitar. I would really like to see that. Do I get to see you then again with those googly eyes, or is it just you being totally sober? What do you think about it? But those googly eyes were quite impressive. Most likely not. Yeah, there are. And especially not if Bucky's keeping posting that picture. That's quite impressive. And you have had you already had him there. So
No, really looks like he was photoshopped there. I wonder why he looked like he was photoshopped there.
When I Photoshop things in, I sometimes leave them very bad for legal purposes.
Yeah, exactly. It cannot look too real.
Exactly.
Yeah, I totally get that.
Nicely done.
Yeah, Bucky, you're not only a great musician and a great show producer, you're also kind of magic with that mouse of yours.
It took me a while to find the puckered lips part of his video, so I could have those, the pouty lips.
And
It took me a while
look
to
in his
scrub
eyes.
through the video.
That look,
Nicely done.
Yeah,
Nicely done.
yeah, impressive. And then behind Ilana, he's looking like, it's amazing work, amazing piece of art. You should really post this on Steam. I would vote for it, definitely.
All right, so if you'll allow me, if we can move the as a witness, I'd like to your community, essentially, the actual developers building open source awesomeness on the Steam blockchain. And I'd like to know, what is it we as witnesses can do better to serve you? And that was another big kind of thing that came out of the Steamfest interactions with me. I talked with a lot of the Apex team as an example, and they want to onboard millions of people, but they're limited by account creation. And, it was just knowing about their limitations. It was a really good discussion. Scott NEX was there as well, and we talked it through with their whole team there. It was at one of the dinners, and kind of reminded them that it's really not on Steemit Incorporated to do anything. It's really on the witnesses. We're running the blockchain, and if there are things that they want the blockchain to be able to do to serve their application, to serve their needs as open source developers or building projects or entrepreneurs or whatever it might be, ultimately I like talking about it in terms of hey, witnesses, can you do this? And having this direct dialogue as a community that's more decentralized, because there may be great witnesses, for example, that have solutions that aren't represented in the top selection of witnesses, or who knows what. The idea being that if we can organize what the concerns are, we might not lose people to other blockchains. Maybe Steem is the right blockchain, but if they're not getting the communication they need with that single point of communication with Steem Incorporated, well, maybe they could talk to the witnesses. And so I was. I said Apex. I meant Apex, Appics, I believe it is. The Apex is one of the very kind of first. Oh my gosh, back to Ned. Yeah, Apex.
Sorry.
No, it's just hilarious. Apex is one of the very first projects that was highlighted as being a smart media token, and it was really well supported by Steam Incorporated in the beginning. And then they kind of did an ICO, and there was this like, whoa, wait, we don't know about ICO legal realities, so they had to like pull back their support and remove references to them from the Appix website. But having talked to their team, I think it's a lot of people thought it was just a bunch of marketers, but they actually have developers as well, and they're building a pretty cool product. And so I think like I'd like to hear from the developer community more as a witness to say, hey, what can we do to help you all better?
That's a very good question. And can we go back to this Epic thing for 1 second? Because obviously you had quite a long chat with them. And I thought, reading the Steamfest information that I got, that they do not want to have things on the Steam blockchain for now and later. Or did I misunderstand something completely? Because exactly.
Yeah, no, it's an important part of the discussion. So essentially, core number one on a blockchain technology, nothing's free. You can't just create things out of thin air. There are hard realities, and when you, like, for example, change state that's permanent forever, such as creating an account, you have to think about the long-term costs of that. And every single node, not just the witnesses, but every node has to burden that cost. And so when there's a requirement of the application to onboard, for example, 1 million people, then that's just may not be physically feasibly possible with the current technology. So one of the ways that that's handled is through sidechains or even just private databases. So essentially you have your own database, you onboard people through your own process, and then only when the account actually becomes valuable, only when the account actually is meaningful enough to even earn a spot on this immutable ledger that's going to exist forever, that's when you then port them over, all their activity. And even the cool part about that too is you could have their individual actions on your little private sidechain or your private database. You could take a hash of all those actions and put them on the blockchain periodically. And again, this is kind of back to what the Steam Monsters is doing. Take the data and put it on the blockchain. But ultimately, this hybrid approach may be the way we have to move forward. And only when accounts actually are earning real value for the community do we then put them on the chain.
Yeah, that's exactly the question. Is this hybrid approach going to be somewhere there? And maybe this is even the future that we're looking at right now. Like Steam Monsters is doing it and like Epic is planning to. Or is this kind of a step back into having a side chain or a database even holding my data and maybe just publishing it via hashing it on some real blockchain? I'm really not decided on this, so I need much more information to digest.
I think it's it's again, all philosophy eventually boils down to the meaning, right? So we have in our head this idea of a decentralized system, and that's what a blockchain means to us. But then we have to define what is decentralized. What does it mean for different people? And that's where I've come to the idea that, no single point of failure makes sense to me. And so in a situation like that, well, okay, let's say that centralized database gets hacked and you have 1 million accounts that, get deleted or who knows what. Well, that would be a bummer. But if those accounts had no actual value for the community, meaning they didn't post ever, maybe they were just, barely engaged, then it's kind of like, is there a really huge loss? Well, maybe not, but if those accounts have value, well, then as soon as they have value, moving them onto an immutable ledger that's going to exist for a long time makes sense. So it's all just a matter of how do we accomplish our goals? We want why do we even want a blockchain? Answering that question first is an important one. Thinking about immutability, why is that important? Thinking about uncensorability, not being censored. These are all things that I think are the starting philosophical questions that people should ask first before they go, we're going to be the Long Island blockchain, we're an iced tea company that puts blockchain in the word and then, our stock goes up. No, that's not what we're doing, right? We want to actually use blockchains the way they're designed to be used in a way that they add value to human beings.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know where this is going to be headed. I'm not looking into the future now, and but yeah, it's definitely an interesting concept to have. Or centralized databases hashing things on decentralized blockchains and making it therefore immutable, maybe over the back door. I'm definitely looking forward and see where this is all going to head to. I just was thinking about this Epic thing that they started with, having because it was initially thought to be the first SMT implementation that is going to be going big time into this SMT way, and it's going to open us doors and I don't know, bringing up millions of users. And obviously things changed since they hit their ICO and things like that. It's just also a bit of a setback, not totally, but a bit of.
Well, I think it's just SMTs don't exist, and that was a big challenge for them. They were, from my conversations, they were kind of told a timeline that they tried to, rely on, and then once that timeline changed, they tried to, get more improved communication with Steemit Incorporated. And they, from what was told to me, and again, it's only one side of the story, but they were feeling like, that their expectations for communication weren't being met. And at one point, they flew from Germany to San Francisco to connect with the team, and even then, from stage, they're talking about, DLive, for example, which isn't even around anymore, instead of talking about Apex, which is hey, we had this long, multi-year relationship. And so they felt a little slighted by that, but it was neat to be able to be there and encourage them to say, hey, look, we as the witnesses, as the block producers, we are the ones that hopefully can help you accomplish things. And let's really build this decentralized system that we all want and not have single points of failure.
Yeah, that's totally true. You being witnesses, or you the witnesses, control in the end what's running. So it's not, well, somebody said it way up in the conversation that Net or Steemit Incorporated is still holding a majority, or at least a considerable amount of Steam power, therefore influencing who is in that witness list in the end. On the other hand side,
but they don't actually vote, and that's something that I go and look at with my voting engagement report, and I appreciate that. All the way back from Hard Fork 17, community didn't want to push that out. Some people disagreed vocally with Steemit Incorporated, and then they got unvoted, and everyone was like, oh hell no, this is supposed to be delegated proof of stake. You as a corporation isn't supposed to be able to control the consensus. And so then from that moment on, they haven't been voting, which is, I think, really important. But there's the potential that they could, so it's definitely a risk.
Yeah, so you're right, they are not doing it, they're not executing that possibility that they would have, or that they are having factually. On the other hand side, there is this risk looming. It's just like I said, you as being witness, or even we as being the utopian witness, in the end we control what is what source of code we are running. So we can do for sure a lot of things. Thanks a lot, Clover, for the 4-minute warning. And we should maybe even leverage on this fact much more than we have been doing it in the past. But yeah, it's a fast-moving world, and we have to adapt to a lot of things. So I'm definitely looking forward on how things are going in the market world, because obviously we're going bearish all the time is not making much fun. On the other hand side, on this development world as well, because we need to find new ways to get things going.
Oh, that Alexa is awesome. Showing DLive dropping off after.
Great.
That's funny. If you wouldn't mind, before I go, if I could just chill a little bit, I'd love for anyone who was interested in the decentralized autonomous community stuff that I've been talking about to check out eostack.io, and also our members.eostack.io member client, which is a decentralized application that you can run yourself. And we're always looking for more developers to contribute code. We're using Kazaa framework and Vue.js. So if these are things that that's right, eostack.io. If these are things you're interested in participating in, and we do have a worker proposal system where you can, get paid in EOS for doing work. Would love to have your community participate. As I said earlier, I'm not a maximalist when it comes to any specific blockchain or project. I'm involved in all kinds of things, so hopefully I can add value in all kinds of ways. So that would be something I'd love for you guys all to know about anyway.
Just Diego pointed it out. You said Quasar and Vue,
yes,
which is basically the same stack that Diego and the Utopian front-end guys are currently developing at.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, I mean, this is, sorry, I'll just drop some links here. That's Kazaa framework, which is really great. And then, Vue.js is nice and all kind of
definitely
runs on Node. And
we have nothing as magic.
Nicely.
Yeah, that's true as well.
And then you could check out how we're using it if you want over here at the members. That's our actual members client. And then I also mentioned eostack.io. So thank you for letting me show my little community, because I it's not my community, but the community, because I really do think that distributed communities that have on-chain governance are the future, and they're going to make things much, much better than they are today.
I do definitely believe that as well, because this is in the end the future that I can currently envision where this is all heading to. Totally independent of basically the worth that you have, that the cryptocurrency market is currently having, or that it is even dropping to, or maybe rising to. This is a technology that is going to stay the one way or the other, for sure, in our technical environment. And thanks a lot, Luke. It was totally a pleasure to talk to you about so many things, different things. Just people in the audience and everyone that's looking in Vim or wherever, check out the links that Luke dropped. Thanks the audience for being around for such a long time, listening, asking questions, and doing a lot of things. Now, after me, it's going to be Hope777. I think she's caught with her new program. Just stay around if you want to listen to her. Bucky already said and made some advertisement for her as well. Thanks a lot, Ilana, Bucky, and the whole audience for having this nice show. Thanks to my dog that he didn't destroy anything. At least I didn't hear anything, so I need to go downstairs and be surprised. I hope in a good way. Thanks a lot.
Thanks so much for having me.
It was a pleasure, Luke. It was a pleasure.